from military to political to community spaces. But then my question is, where does your story begin?
My name is Abdirahman. This is my father's name. Muhammad is my grandfather's name. The interesting bit was those days there were no buses. So the school is open at the beginning of the term. You go with your bag, that soldier box. In the petrol station, we used to rely on trucks. And I became the first non-operational officer in the Air Force to be a military assistant to an Air Force commander. Everybody in the military used to say that Idris will be a general one day. September 27th of 2003, I put my resignation letter forwarded, and it shocked everybody in the military. For 2 years, I stayed in Nairobi without a job. I was keenly following politics from a very young age. There was a trip for Raila to go to Northeastern, and by the time I was going there, I went with a plan of the trip, Raila, to Northeastern. And I went with Raila without any other of his staff. A major from the military who have no experience about politics, no experience of mingling with such a people. 3 years ago, struggled to pay his rent, coordinating the Prime Minister's diary, calling Uhuru Kenyatta, where are you? Never be afraid of making a decision. And a bad decision, but at the end of the day, you have to make a decision. At the same time, you must trust your inner instincts.
At the end of it all, what is your message to us? Welcome to Stories of Significance, where we are intentionally transforming the world one story at a time. I am your host, Otumbo Vincent, the African leadership alchemist and a passionate believer in the power of purpose. Here, we uncover the stories behind the most inspiring African leaders, entrepreneurs, and change makers. This is where real stories meet bold vision, stories that challenge us, stories that connect us, and stories that call us into transformation. Let us dive into today's story of significance.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here, to interact with all this wonderful team. And of course, I've worked with her. And I've interacted with Linda before. I don't know that she told her one time I went to Lamu to headhunt for her when I was running the campaign for Shabal. I was looking for a running mate, looking for options. So I went to Kilifi to talk her, but it did not work out. Well, my name is Abdirahman. Idris, my father's name, Muhammad. See, unlike you guys, Vincent, so you have two names, as you don't. My name is Abdirahman. Idris is my father's name, Muhammad is my grandfather's name. But when I joined the military, either I used Abdirahman or Idris or Muhammad. Abdirahman was too difficult for people, and Muhammad was too common. A lot of people were using. So I opted for the name Idris. So that's where. So my name is Abdirahman, but I'm popularly known as Idris. But for me to answer your question, I need to tell you guys a story. And the story is about, and this Major Idris cannot be a Major Idris without me telling you the story of my father and my family. How we grew up, how our father brought us, until when he passed away. My father came from Garissa, and in his younger days, he started business, the business of trading camels and cows and everything. And he was a very industrious guy. There's a town called Dadaab, the headquarters of refugee. He started that town in the early 50s and built the first house. And of course, he got married to 3 wives. His children are 21, but together were 24 children. When he met my mother in the 1957, she was a widow with 3 kids. But he ended up getting married to her. I was the second wife. So I was born in 1966 in an odd day. First April Fool's Day. But my mother told me that I was born in the afternoon, around 4 o'clock. I can't put the Now, my father was a businessman, and in his younger days, in the 60s, he made a lot of money. And he moved from Dadaab to Garissa and bought properties in Garissa. And when he bought properties in Garissa, the first house we settled in Garissa, I was not born, but I was the first kid to be born in that house. I was, I think, the fifth of his children. Fourth or fifth, yeah. So I was the first to be born there. So in 1960, from 1961 to 1967, there was what was called the Shifter War. Okay? For those guys who know history. That's when the Somalis in northeastern wanted to succeed and join Somalia. And the Kenya government refused. So there was what's called the Shifter War. But in 1967, the government came very hard. And they really crushed the Shifter things. And that time, we were put in a concentration camp in Garissa. But my father was a businessman, and he used to travel. I'd ask my sister, where did he used to travel? She said he used to go to Masai Mara. So Masai Mara is either Narok, Kajiado, to do what? Buy cows, cattle, and sell to KMC. Buy from the Masais. He used to have a Land Rover 109. I don't know. All Land Rovers, you know those all Land Rovers, are short chases. So, but during that time when we were in the concentration camp, when he was not there, he was in so-called Masai Mara. And these years, you guys used to come to the house, loot and everything. And my sister told me that there was a lot of money in the house. And these guys came and robbed everything. They took everything. And we were put in a concentration camp for some time. So after that, we came out of the concentration camp. For those who now could take out their family out, because what the Jews used to say, they beat people, rape girls and everything. So for those old men who could afford, they left Garissa. And my dad took us to Nairobi. It's section 1. I was still there, I'm told, for some few months. I was right there for 1 year old. Then we came back. When we came back, my dad was a man who really served the community. What he did was that he went back to Dadaab and went to all the villages. And every family, he took a boy from each family, around 20 boys, and took them to school in Dadaab under a tree. And said, the future is education. And every family must give me a boy, 20 of them. So under a tree, they started the education. Then he liaised with the county council of Garissa and ensured that the first 4 classrooms were built in Dadaab, and the school was named Idris Primary School. And the PC of that time, Mr. Mburu, opened that school in October 1968. Now these children, their parents, of course, were pastoralists. Sometimes they're around, sometimes they're not around. So my dad had a shop and a small hotel. Those kiosks, there's a man in Lengine and an extra room. So those who the parents were not around, he used to house them in that place and feed them to make sure that for those 3 months, at least between 15 to 20 children are always there. And he used to feed them. So, as we're too young, we don't know that bit of it. But as we grew in the 70s, my father slowed down from business. But he had properties in Garissa. But somehow he slowed down from his business. But he started enjoying his passive income at a very young age. So, but when we were in Garissa, our house was like just a boarding school. Anybody who, relative, cousins, clan members. So in every day we used to have maybe 10, 15, 20 visitors. Yes, on a daily basis. And here it was me and my younger brother, because the others were younger than me, and the others were the girls who were older than us. And we used to have lunch with them. We come from school, have lunch with these people. Sometimes the lunch is enough, sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes the mothers used to make sure they all eat with the mzee. Sometimes leo hamkuli na mzee mera mkula na watu wengine. And I didn't understand why. So sometimes we used to go, okay, we to end up the food is enough, it's not enough. So we discovered a trick with me and my brother. How to survive. In our family, everybody eats pilipili from young age, and that was standard thing. So these guys, most of them came from the bush. So the mambo pilipili hawajui. So the day we realized, mambo ni ngumu, we take the pilipili, put in the soup, tunaweka kwa chakula. And these guys, they realized, shit, mambo ni ngumu, they can't eat this food. They used to leave the food for us. So it became a survival. But
is that why you were striking a deal with us? We walk.
Yes. So one day, because in the afternoons, because the way we were brought up is such as that, like when we were in Garissa, at least the elder wife and my mother we used to stay. So we used to stay in one big house. That's a primary thing. So everybody has a room yake mama. So we were brought in such a way that you couldn't differentiate who's the mother, who's the children of which mother. Because Muzei, if today is sleeping in this house, let's say my mother's house today, so she cooks the 4 o'clock tea, the dinner, and breakfast for everybody. The next day in the afternoon, he shifts to our house. The same compound, and my stepmother takes over. So every afternoon, around from 4 o'clock, a lot of people used to come to the house. So one day, I think I was in class 5 or 6. My dad called us. Well, was just chatting with his friends and what. I can remember my younger brother, 1 year younger than me. I can, you guys, do you know how big this family is? Yeah. Okay. The responsibility of this family lies on you too. And I think I was just 11 years, 12 years old. I just heard dad telling you this. So, then I finished my standard 7th class. Those days called CP in 1979. And I went to Wajir High School from Garissa. So the interesting bit was those days there were no buses. There was nothing. We used to rely on trucks. Ile natoka Garissa, imetoka Nairobi, taking rations to food stuff to Wajir, Mandera. So the school is open at the beginning of the term. You go with your bag, that soldier box, in a petrol station. You go there in the morning, stay there the whole day, 2, 3, 4 days waiting for a lift. Or you could spend there a whole week. When you go to the school, stay there for 3 months, no communication with your parents. Then, of course, in April when the schools are closed, that's when it rains. When it rains, the roads are impassable. So we could stay in the school. The school is being closed. Every day looking for a lift for 2 weeks. Yeah. Imeisha. Kuja home on a lift, your trucks. Stay for 1 week, then start looking for a lift to go back. But I had this problem of what's called motion sickness. Kingia kwa gari uko natapika tu. Then on my 3rd term, I was going back to school. That's famous story that Kasonga has told us. You can see Modogashe, Samatar, Wajir. So between Modogashe and around Samatar, we got a lift from Ministry of Public Works and Trucks. Those one they didn't have superstructure. So vyombe zimeja, umelala, umekaa on top of it, and then there's no way to hold. But me, I vomited and collapsed on top of that truck. So around Samatar, I think the vehicle slipped like that. And I went to understand that I fell down unconsciously. They picked me back to the car, took me to a year hospital and left me in the hospital. And then in the middle of the night, I woke up. I asked the nurse, what's happening? And we have been brought here today. They say that you fell from the car, you vomited, and you collapsed. Okay. Back to school the next day. No information. The parents don't know what has happened to you. Because there's no communication. So that's the kind of life that we grew up. The second time I informed to in a very controversial subtitle. I left school, high school, and I came to Garissa High School. When I was in school in Garissa High School, I was not a prefect. I was not anything. But somehow, I started agitating for the rights of the students. I became like the students' leader. To the extent that the principal of that school had to keep a very close eye to me. I finished that school and then taken to Meru High School for my A levels. I've never been to Nairobi. My first trip to go to Nairobi. That's 1984, January. And my father bought me the uniform, the soldier box. And what you do is go to this bus. It will drop you in Isli. There's a used to call the KBS garage, for those who have been there. Opposite the KBS garage, there's a lodge called Mariam's Lodge, where a lot of people from Garissa used to stay. Just go there, you won't need somebody to assist you. Huh? Yes. So I did that. By the time I was reaching that Mariam Lodge, I vomited the whole trip. I collapsed and slept. Woke up in the morning, I asked them, who can help me? Nobody wants to help me. So there's one good Samaritan. He told me, okay, what you do is that as we are busy, we can't take you to town. Because they know me, my father was very Julikana. And he told me, no, that's Matatu, number 6. Huh? It's number 6. He talked to the conductor, tell me, take this boy and drop him at the National Archive. You know where the National Archive is? Yes. So he told me, when you reach there, show your back to the National Archive, and in front of you, there's a road down. You'll see a road down. Huh? Just follow that road up to down, and you'll get the Matatu stage. And I did that exactly. And I dropped in town with his box, carried. They went down. Somehow I didn't get lost. Then I got the stage to go to Meru. It used to be the picture of the 504s. The 504 pictures, eh? And then, okay, I paid the feeling, and I climbed. The moment we started driving out of town, I started vomiting. And everybody in the picture was pissed off. And they said, Toi kijana hapa, sijui nini. But there was one good Samaritan said, no. This guy is a student, but we went to Meru, dropped in town. The school is very far from town. I don't know where it is, but somehow I reached the school. Shule ikifungwa, the same thing. Get out of school, come to Mkutano, look for a lift. Because there's no communication. One time I remember, first time I got a lift to Nairobi, when I came to Nairobi, Mariam Lodge. For Mariam Lodge, I could survive. At least people who know my father, at least would take care. But this time, I got a lift from Meru, going to Isiolo, but that is Isiolo Modogashe. And I just climbed that, and I went to Isiolo town. I don't know anybody. For 3 days, sleeping on top of a truck. Just surviving. It's from Good Samaritans. And basically, that's the kind of life that we led in school. And but somehow life was good in terms of the education system and the health system. And this I'm coming to this because I'm building a case for my story later. Is that if Linda can remember, is that in primary school, your dad only needed to buy you a uniform and a pencil. You go to the school, you get all textbooks, all exercise books. Throughout, from nursery to primary. Is that true? Yes. The same with secondary school. We used to pay, when we started secondary school, we used to pay a fee per year of 690. By the time I was leaving Form 4, I think it was around 1350. But everything was catered for by the school and by the government. And I'm going to tell you why I'm saying this story later. When it comes to the medical system, we used to go to the general hospital. If you are sick, you just go there in the morning. Your record is there. You see the clinical officer. He checks on you. If you need to go to a laboratory, you just go to the laboratory. If there's an X-ray, you go to the X-ray. You come back to him. He prescribes some medicine for you. You go to the pharmacy. And everything worked. You don't pay anything. And within hours, you're in the hospital and you're out. Somehow I did not finish my A-levels in Form 5 and came back to Garissa after my second term. And stayed for around a few months. But in between, I got a job with the government as a clerk. And actually there's a mzee who looked for me and be like, Jan so nimaliza Form 4 here. Basi kuja kuna kazi hapa kwa ministry. I was employed in clerk. But somehow in November 1994, there was a military advertisement, and I joined the military. However, I was supposed to join as a cadet, but I did not join as a cadet. I joined as a soldier. And after 6 months, you finish your training, then I was in the Air Force. And I was recruited as an aircraft technician. So I went for an aircraft technician course. My salary was 650 shillings. My salary was 650 shillings. Then there's my younger brother who followed me. He went to A-level, but he refused to finish A-level. But the in thing those days was accounts. So he used to be in, then he joined Universal College, in Mente House. So his fees per month was 500 shillings. Then I used to give him transport 100 bob. I used to remain with 50 bob.
You were the one paying the school fees
yes.
And transport.
Transport, yeah. But somehow he used to stay with a relative of mine. So upkeep billing in but and after 6 months, I passed my first exams, and my salary was increased to 1350. Then my brother passed his section 1 in one sitting, and went to do his section 2. His fees per month was 1,000 shillings. I paid. Give him his pocket money, transport 200. I used to remain with 150. Because we were soldiers, so at that time we used to eat at the camp, so there's nothing much in Guinea. And this is because the values that my father inculcated in us, that whatever he has or you have, it's not yours, it belongs to the community. And that's the way it is in Guinea. Then after that, I went for my cadet training and came back and became an officer. When I became an officer, we had 4 brothers. I had 2 sisters and 2 brothers in secondary school. And we got shared with my dad. Okay? Kamba mimi nachukua 2, wewe chukua 1, na 1 we could share. Here I am earning a salary of 3,000 shillings. I decided to take that responsibility. And this thing which has inculcated us, it came to help us later. When my father died in 1995, I'm jumping to my death of my father because I want to conclude this of the family, is that immediately, according to Islamic Sharia, is that you're supposed to divide the wealth immediately, equally. It's in law, it's written, clear cut, what percentage and everything. But we said we will not do it. Because the way our father brought us, our dad brought us, was a very united family. And we said, if we do that, it will divide the families. Everybody, this mother group, and we never did that until 25 years later. And for those 25 years, that property's rent was being managed by my sisters. And anybody who was not doing well in the family was being taken care of from that fund. It doesn't matter. So, okay, among about 20, of course, in a family of 20, there's sometimes not all of us can be the same thing. There's others who are doing well, others. Anybody for 20 years. And interestingly, none of the boys has ever touched or benefited from that money. We left to the ladies. And come now to the military. When I became a lieutenant, I was initially in the because of my technical training, I was taken to the technical unit. And in that technical unit, I was a lieutenant. And surprisingly, in the military, despite my age and my young rank, I ended up I've been given tasks, very sensitive tasks, and very difficult tasks. And when I was a lieutenant, I was given seconded to a squadron to be in charge of what's called the VIP. The VIP is where now all the VIP aircrafts are. And the VIP is people like Inamoy, the presidents, Alengine. So I was in charge of that section. And here I am intermingling with all the VIPs. And that thing gave me some kind of confidence that a lieutenant, 22 years old, taking care of VIPs. And I think that shaped me in my future life. Then somehow I did not stay long in the technical department, then I joined the logistics. But what unique thing happened was that in the military those days, we used to compete. We used to have athletics, then we used to have athletics, that's cross-country, athletics, and then we used to have what's called the range competition. So the cross-country used to come early in the year. Then around April, May, the athletics, and then the range. So we used to go for camping. And somehow, I went for one of the camp to administer. There used to be a captain who was the OC, then there was the administration officer, the lieutenant. And somehow the soldiers liked my way of doing the administration. And we came back, and it became a story in the Air Force that, up to the Air Force commander, that if soldiers are going out for any kind of camping, they had to go with Idris. There's one day, I think I was on leave, and the Air Force commander, General Shan, had that, Al-Kauliza, who went with the, where is Idris? He's on leave. Where home, Garissa? A signal has to be sent to Garissa. And I was just at home, and I found, there's a military vehicle. Kuna nini unatakuwa na Nairobi? Those days there were no telephones. And what unique thing was that I found myself doing those days was that despite my rank, I was never scared of intermingling with seniors. The military hierarchy is a bit strong, but somehow I was a bit unique. I was never scared of bypassing the hierarchy and looking for getting things to be done by approaching the right person, irrespective of the rank. Yes. And that made me make sure that all the missions that I was sent to succeeded. And I became very popular with soldiers. If there was an election of, in the military those days, I think I could be the Air Force commander. So, fast forward, the military, then rose the rank of a captain. But in the military, there's what is called a very prestigious job. One of the prestigious jobs is to be a military assistant to an Air Force commander. That's like a PA, so a service commander. Now, the Air Force is divided into operational, logistics, and admin. Operational and non-operational. The operational guys are pilots. the air defense and guys. The non-operation guys are the administrators and logistics, people like me. I'm a logistician by training, by the way. And I became the first non-operational officer in the Air Force to be a military assistant to an Air Force commander. Yeah. And the template I put, because I changed the concept of because most of the military assistants became more of administrative officers for the commanders. And mine became a more professional one. And I put a proper template of what a military assistant is supposed to do. I'm told it took around 20 years for that template to be changed in the Air Force. Yes. And then after that, once you become the military assistant, you are supposed to, mostly you now, is a leap to the next. You either become a lieutenant colonel, or most of the people used to become a defense attaché. But because of my nature of job, the nature of person I'm a person who could challenge things, I'm a person who could speak to seniors, what I think is right. Sometimes you step on your toes of people. I don't know, I think maybe I stepped on some toes. I was taken to the next step. I was pushed literally somewhere. And I think that thing affected me. And that was 202. Yeah, then 203, 204. That affected me. No, that was 202. But so by the end of 202, or 2000 is when I was appointed. By the end of 202, then I was pushed from that office. And that thing really affected me. And I thought, I think my days in the military is coming to an end. I was a strong believer that I'm going to be a general. And everybody in the military used to say that, Idris will be a general one day. But of course, fate has other. This thing is different. So one day, in 203, in 203 September, I just told my wife, I'm tired of this work. I'm going to leave. I can be sour too. September 27th of 2003, I put my resignation letter and forwarded, and it shocked everybody in the military. Idris can resign and leave the military. Then anybody can leave the military. So when you resign, there is a period. Of course, you go on a leave, terminal leave, and everything. So my ROD of my last date was now January 2004. I left the military with 3 kids, a wife and 3 kids, and I didn't know where I'm going to get the next meal for them. This is the lowest moments in my life. For 2 years, I stayed in Nairobi without a job, no income, with a wife with 3 kids. How I survived, I don't know, but somehow I survived. This became too much for my wife. And me, I didn't want to work. I was just tired. I think that's what's called depression. Now that we're coming to learn, mental depression. So I was not interested in working completely. And I really didn't care. But somehow I used to get 1 or 2 deals, but it was not enough. And she went to my sister, my younger sister. My younger sister was married to a senior guy who was a head of a parastatal, and told me this is too much for us. Because she had my documents, my wife, and she took it to her. And somehow they got a job for me in NSSF. But I was called for an interview as a deputy manager for security. I did the interview, and they said, no, I think your procurement background will take you to procurement background. But they didn't give me the grade I wanted. Why? Because I didn't go to university. I don't have a degree. But the work experience I have. I was taken there as a junior clerk, as a supplies clerk. And my wife and sister came and we know you refused this job, but please, for the sake of the children, just accept. At least you can pay your rent. I said, okay, so I'll do it. When I went there, of course, in the hierarchy, I was very junior, but I ended up doing all the work. Actually, I was running the department. Because of my past experience. So I worked in NSSF. And that was 1995. Of course, there was the 1995 referendums, you remember? The 205 referendum. I indirectly participated in it. Huh? The last rally in Uhuru Park, I was there. And it's because I was keenly following politics from a very young age. That's a bit that I said. When I was in primary, I started reading newspapers in primary. And by the time I was in secondary, there was what called a weekly review every Friday. Yeah? My mother used to give me, I'm in secondary, every Friday 10 bob to buy the weekly review. And in 1984, there was the Georgia inquiry. You remember? After the coup. And I used to buy the paper every day and read the Georgia inquiry daily, word for word. To the extent one morning, I was reading, and a certain old man came next to me and stood, and he saw that I'm really concentrating. After some time, he told me, Kijana, looks like your life will be in politics, eh? And Kanyamaza too. So coming back, so in 2007, then came the election. The ODM versus PNU. And somehow I started getting involved. What happened was that there was a trip for Raila to go to Northeastern. So all the aspirants were called for a meeting to plan. And I went with Faramalin, this guy who is fighting with the Gen Zs. He's a cousin of mine, though. So, and we went for a meeting at Raila's office in Upper Hill, trying to plan for that trip. After the meeting, I met the Raila's team, a guy called Caesar Sio and his PA, and I told him, gentlemen, I want to be part of your team. Okay, but who are you? I said, Tuma CV yako. I sent the CV. After 2 weeks, they didn't come back to me. Then there was another meeting which was organized at the campaign manager's office in Hurlingham. And I went there. And by the time I was going there, I went with a plan of the trip, Raila, to Northeastern. So we are here in the meeting with aspirants. I'm the one who's briefing how the trip will be. You will fly from Nairobi to Mandera. Obviously, a long time, people all the presidential, they used to go to the big cities. Mandera, Wajir, Garissa. But this time I decided, no, you should stop in other small towns, Elwak, and I included my hometown in the trip. So after the meeting, I went to the campaign manager, Dr. Isakia, and I told Dr. Isakia, I think we met once, I'm so, and I want to join you. I told him, who are you? I explained myself, my background. Then he just stood up. And he took me to the next room. There was a team of officers who were there, the operation team. I come back, gentlemen, this is Major Idris. He's part of you from today.
Wow.
And I became part of the team and organized that trip, Raila to Northeastern, and somehow they trusted me on my own to coordinate that trip. And I went with Raila without any other of his staff. And it was a very successful trip. Then, of course, I was working in NSSF. So what I used to do was that I used to go very early in the morning, 6 in the morning, sign the book, and leave. But some of people are seen in the media, and when I was working there, Raila was going to was invited to a stock exchange, and this gentleman said, "Allah, you go with him, Mzee." And somehow I'm the one who organized the trip to the visit to the stock exchange, and here I'm in the paper working with NSSF, and all my friends and I'm utafutwa kazi bwana utashikwa, naambia ni sawa tu. Then it became too much. I decided to take a leave. I took a leave, and my leave, then I got deep into the campaign. My leave ended on 20th November 2007. I went there very early in the morning, put my resignation letter, and left. And this time even I didn't tell my wife that I resigned. Then we went for the campaign. And by November 2007, Raila, I think somehow he had a PA, but that PA, I think somehow he messed up and he was dropped from the role of PA. And I wanted to be the PA of Raila. But nobody could now make that decision to introduce me properly and say, no, before that, and before I joined properly, one morning, that Caesar CEO called me on a Sunday morning, 6 in the morning. Where are you? Niko nyumbani. I can be okay. Last night there was fire in Kibera. They will be there at 10 o'clock. Look for Tony Kachoka. He has a PA system. He stays somewhere in Riverside, and this is his number. But make sure that PA system is fixed before 10. Can you do it? I told me I can do it. And I don't know why even Kibera. I've never been to Kibera. I went to Riverside, looked for this Tony Kachoka. His phone was off up to around 9 o'clock. I managed to get him around 9. Got the PA system, right to Kibera, and fixed the PA system. Baba came and addressed the people. And after that, he went to Serena with his wife for breakfast because he was going to church. And we went with Caesar. Caesar told me, come. And he went to Serena and met Mzee. Mzee, this is Major Idris, and he's part of us from today. So, of course, December, you know what happened in 2007? The election, things went haywire. After things went haywire, of course, a lot of people leave. But some of us decided to stick. And our campaign manager, Dr. Saki, his family was out of the country. He has not seen them for a whole year. He said, me, I'll travel out of the country. My wife is on my back, and I need to go and see her. The Caesar CEO was left to be in charge. Caesar CEO was to work for a company. But now the company said, okay, if things have gone haywire, you have to come back to work. Then Caesar said, Idris, Mimi, of course, I'm in charge of the Pentagon, but I can't be here daily. So what I'll do is, I know you want to be the PA of Mzee. I'm going to leave you to be in charge of here so that you get exposed to Mzee. In case of anything, I'm a falcon away from you. I've been given an opportunity. And I was there every morning, 6. They used to be the night riser. By 6, 6:15, 6:30, he used to come to the office. So before 6, me and a lady called Susan, his secretary, a lady from Kiambu, and he is his secretary. He inherited from his father. We used to be in the office by 6. By 6:15, 6:20, he comes. I'm the first one there to open the door for him. He goes to his office to Naka. So on the 3rd week of January 2008, one morning I opened the door. I want to see you. I've worked with you, not closely, but I'm so. What do you want? I want to be your personal assistant. Okay. I didn't think about it. Let me do my homework. We continued at the end of January. The first week, I wish I recorded this date. The first week of February, I opened, one day he came, Kuja, come to the office. I went to the office, to Kaka, you have a job.
Wow.
That the day now I told everybody, all my friends, by the way, you guys have a new job as a personal assistant to one Raila Odinga. And I resigned the other job November last year. This a man 2-3 years ago, auctioneer's on his back. Here, becoming a personal assistant of Raila Odinga, who was the next president of the country. Then, of course, we went to the negotiations, the Kofi Annan thing. But somehow, and I'm sure Linda will tell you, in a campaign place, there's a lot of disorder and everybody's a mkubwa. Yes, everybody's a boss there. And there's a lot of disorder. So in where the Pentagon was, there was kina Biguna here, kina nini, making noise, everything. So when I was managing informally, I put some rules kidogo, but I didn't have the power. But when the day I became the PA, the next day, everybody felt my presence. Everybody felt my presence. Everybody used to come and park their car inside. Even when the principals come, the Pentagon members, they have nowhere to park. The next office, the Raila Hapak in Miguna and other professors, they hear making noise. They said, no, only next morning, said, only the principal guys, the captain and the Pentagon members only will park inside. You guys were making noise here around. There's another room there, Mohammed. And the place became very orderly. After 2-3 days, when the museum and the Pentagon were seated, of course, the Pentagon was Ruto, nani, they called me. Naambia mzee, tangu umepatia meja kazi hapa mambo yamekuwa mzuri sana. There's order here. And after that, we went to the government. But during the negotiations, then I became, when the first time Mzee was called by Kofi Annan for a meeting, to meet with Kibaki head 101 after the Sarena guys could not agree. So now this time it was the two principals to meet. So when the first time Raila went for that meeting, he went alone. And Kibaki came with all his PNU guys. And that thing really pissed off all our supporters. So it was decided that from that moment, I'll be coordinating between the Pentagon, Kofi Annan's office, and OP.
Wow.
So I started dealing with Mudawara's office, everything. So one day I called Mudawara's office. I said there was a meeting I was supposed to organize, and I said, I'm coming. So I went there, the secretary, and I went there. I can remember, who are you? I'm Major Idris. She looked at me. Are you sure? I'm yeah. At that time, when you hear a major retired, you expect to see a tired old man. Yeah, I'm a very young guy. Maybe I think I was 41 years. Because I took another retirement around when I was 36, 37. Yeah. And coordinated everything properly. And witnessed something that you can only hear in the history books, where you mix with Kina Kofi Annan and Kikwete and what do you call that lady, Michelle? This a major from the military who have no experience about politics, no experience of intermingling with such a people. 3 years ago, struggled to pay his rent.
And didn't want to work.
Yeah? I didn't want to work. And I'm here at the center. Yes. Then we started, because we went to the government, set up the office, and here I was, running the government. Coordinating the Prime Minister's diary. Calling Uhuru Kenyatta, where are you? Kuja hapa. Ruto na mzee. Uko wapi? But the thing I appreciated was, here is a man who had so many options, including members of community who are well educated, trusting with a young guy who's not from his community, who has never seen a university, to be his personal assistant too. It was a very humbling experience. And that 5 years, what I learned and what I saw is something I hope I'll be able to write in my memos. Yes. Because see, what you normally see, what happens behind the scenes, and what comes after the public are normally two different things. Or it takes a process before you hear it. Yeah. So for the first 1 year, And I was running the show because I was a personal assistant and everything. But the job became too much for me. But this gentleman, the one who gave me the job, Caesar Sio, introduced me to Baba, left after January, he left the place because those siyasa, he left the place. And he went back to his company. So around November 2008, I called him. There was a very senior position which was vacant. I told him, Caesar, can we meet here, sir? Okay, yeah. And I told him, boss, there is this job which is vacant. Are you interested? Yeah, I'm interested. Then I went to the PS, Dr. Isakia. My friend, but I want him to come back. Which posing this one? I can tell him, you go and tell yourself. And I walked to Mzee. This person, this guy has really served you, you know it. And by the way, he's very stupid guy. Tell him to call me. Come and see me. And I arranged, he came, saw him. The next day, the third day, he had a job. So the guy who gave me a job.
You have given him a job.
When you are down, and we work together like brothers and sisters up to today. Yeah. And we work together in the Prime Minister's office with a lot of progress. I mean, one of the best moments in my life, working in that office for 5 years, learning a lot of people, learning so many things. And after 1.5 years of managing the diary, I decided I got bored with that job. I said, no, I don't want to remember a diary. But managing a Raila's diary or a politician is not easy. Because everybody wants to see him, and very few people come meet you, and everybody blames you. That's why I thought I had enough. After 1.5 I thought I had enough of that. I decided to change my role. And one thing I realized when I reflect back is that I realized after every 2 years, even if I'm changing in that office, I change from what I'm doing to something else. I change. I look for another opportunity. I look for gaps and try to fill those gaps. Here I saw there's some gap in terms of our coordination between the members of parliament and Bunge and coordinating with other stakeholders. So I was a personal assistant. I gave myself a title called senior personal assistant. I started doing that job. And I got another guy to be the personal assistant. And I worked with the 10th parliament. I don't know if you guys said 10th parliament members, MPs. Then from there, then came the 2010 constitution. And we worked very hard to make sure the 2010 constitution, Kenyans really went to the vote. A lot of people from the PNU side, the Kibaki side, were totally against this thing. But some sober guys in the Kibaki's side, Mudawara saw shit. Kibaki has only 2 years to go. For him to refuse to 2010 constitution is dividing the country again, like what happened in 2005, led to 2007. So basically his legacy, he will have no legacy. So the sober minds in Kibaki prevailed, and Kibaki accepted to support. But others, like I think Ruto, the Guatemalan guys, Uhuru were against it until Kibaki said, no, I'm supporting this. And we did the 2010 constitution, came to 2013 election. Somehow, it didn't work. But during that time, we became very close friends with Joe. And we became very close friends, and we started engaging each other. And one day he joked that, by the way, mchata baba kienda status bana, mimi nitakuwa governor Mombasa, sikuje tu nisaidia kwa governor in Mombasa. Nikamwambia hiyo ni ngumu lakini tutangona. So after things went haywire one morning, I was called by the family member. I said, Idris, during your stay in the governor prime minister's office, you really help us. Tutakurudisha mkono. What do you mean? We want you to come to Mombasa, help the governor, put the structure, and you shift to Mombasa. And that happened. I shifted to Mombasa. So why am I saying this? I'll give you all the background. Is that in life, never be afraid of making a decision. It can be a bad decision, but at the end of the day, you have to make a decision. And at the same time, you must trust your inner instincts. Because it's only you who knows your inner instincts and nobody else. Yeah, nobody else. So I came to Mombasa, became the political advisor for Joho, kept my ties with Baba, competed with Kina Lina in 2017. But as what I realized was that by 2014, I realized that because the devolution was new, we took over all the debts, all the civil servants who are here. We had the money was not a lot, and we could not achieve much. And I told one day, Joe, in 2014, was in your re-election in 2017 cannot be based on what we have done. Because there's nothing you'll have done by that time, considering the circumstances right now. So I can remember, what do you do? I told him, I'll position you as the regional leader for cost. And that's the only way I can reassure you of your election. And that's the way we positioned him. Luckily, the situation presented itself. Uhuru decided to fight us. And we took them head on. And people see him as the king of Mombasa. Came after as political advisor, I was appointed as the sub-county coordinator, set up the sub-county administration. Then as a security advisor, then our 10 years was over. But toward the end of 10 years, I decided to support Shaban. I became his campaign manager because I looked around and I saw among all the candidates here, I think it's Shaban who can, after 10 years, maybe we can put the situation, it's all a guy. And of course, I had to look for running mates. I went for Linda to look for Hai Kilifi, Kakata, Akinri, Sawa too. No? Yeah, we are still friends, yeah. By the way, we're good friends, yeah. So, 10 years education. But what happened was that in 2017, in 2010, I was diagnosed with hypertension and diabetics. But when I came to Mombasa, I became a bit reckless, especially the first term. Between 2013 to 2017, I stopped doing any exercise, I stopped taking medicine, I stopped everything, eat any kind of food. I became a bit reckless. And that's the time we did a lot of high octagen politics. We did the Malindi by-election, fighting with the Uhuru, the national government. And of course, I was the one who coordinated the thing behind the scene. So by 2017 election, now I had 3 roles. I was strategizing for the Joho's re-election. I was coordinating the regional ODM campaign. And I was a member of the secretariat of the national campaign in Nairobi. I had 3 roles. So this thing took a toll on me. And in August 2017, after we lost the elections, was declared, Uhuru was declared, and the court case was on. So 1 week I was not feeling well. Completely. For a whole week I was not feeling well. So one morning I said, tell the driver, take me to hospital. And he took me to Jubilee Hospital. AR Hospital here. At the AR Hospital, they checked on me. They checked my sugar level was very high, 23. My blood pressure was 220. They checked my ECG with another small machine, and they said they think I had a mild heart attack. And then I was rushed to Mombasa Hospital. The 2 others were confirmed. The mild stroke was not there, and I stayed there for a whole week. During the Maraga, on September, when Maraga declared the null and void the election, it was on a Friday. I can remember I was alone in the room, and I was watching. And when Maraga said the election is null and void, I celebrated. I shouted until all the nurses came. What's happening? We're celebrating, man. I'm nimepona bado mniwashe nitoke. Yeah. So after that, then the doctor told me, you have to decide. You change your lifestyle, or next time you come here, you'll be in an ICU. So from there, I started the journey of walking at the beach. Pole pole too. Me and my friends, 1, 2, 3. So beach. So at one stage, I think around 2019, I started walking. On Saturdays when we walk, another friend of mine, then we used to go to Cafe Seri. And I take a picture, said I walked, I'm enjoying my coffee at Cafe Seri. Hardly did I know that people were following these things. So at one stage, I stopped posting. And one day I was walking in town, and a lady stopped me. Major, yeah, unanijua, yeah, nakujua. How? We are Facebook friends. Oh, okay. Have you stopped walking? I told her, no. How comes you don't post? It's true, I don't post, but please post, because it really motivates so many of us. I started posting. And around November, around October or 2022, I decided I'm tired of walking around Nyali area. And one day I said, I'm going to walk from near the barracks where I stay to Mamangina. And it became a debate. How? I told him, by the way, it's only 11 kilometers. Then I walked. So I was approaching Mamangina. I was in Mamangina. A friend of mine took a video. And we posted. And people said, Allah, you made it. I said, yeah, I made it. And that's the way you walk. I told him, yes. Because people thought that the walk in Ila normal control. It was a brisk walk. So it became a discussion. Then the following Saturday, I walked around Nyali. And the third Saturday, I said, okay, I'm walking from barracks to Changamwe. And this time I posted on a Thursday. And so the whole of Friday became a debate. How? I told them by this is only 16 kilometers. 16 kilometers. And I started walking. There's a friend of mine called Samir joined me and came with his car from Buxton. He started taking pictures and videos. So tulipofika Kibarani ikaanza kunyesha.
Ni huyu Samir?
So it started raining very heavily. So he told me, come into the car. I refused. I told him, you get hold of my phone. You record. Then he recorded me walking in Kibarani. Menyeshewa ile mbaya sana. Then we posted, and that video went viral. Allah, you made it. You guys really, yeah. And it became a story in Mombasa. So everybody I meet, Allah, we saw you. Where? We saw your video. So the next Saturday, I said I'm going to walk from barracks to Shikadabu Girls using the Lewetoni Bridge. How many kilometers? Around 20 kilometers. Is that possible? No. So I walked. So nilipofika GPO, posta ya Ganjoni, there are two ladies who were waiting for me. They joined me. By the time I reached Lewetoni Bridge, there are 15 people from Likoni decided to join me. So we walked 22 kilometers. Then the following Saturday, I was going somewhere. Then more people joined me. Then I sat down with a friend of mine. I mean, looks like this thing, people are taking keen interest. And we are walking on the streets illegally. I think there's a need. Huh? Because there's a number of people. I think there's a need to formalize these things. So, and we debated, what do you do? So we came with the idea of we register a club. What do you call Mombasa Workers Club or Mombasa Work Movement? So we debated. So if we use Mombasa Work Club, it's more of an elitist. And we settled for Mombasa Work Movement. The next debate was, how do we register? My friends from Nairobi say that register as a company and make money out of it. My friends in Nairobi, Mombasa told me, no, I think your life has been public service life, back to a community. I think it's the high time to give back to a community. Register as CBO, and let it be. It's not a question of making money. You need to give back to a community. And we registered as a CBO. The first time we worked with that was from Nyali to Kijipwa. You know Kijipwa police station, just before Pingo, around 25 kilometers. And that day, 25 people turned up. The next Saturday, we said we are going to Jomvu. The number increased to 65. The other Saturday, we said we are going to Kisaoni. The number increased to 125. And Mombasa Walk Movement was born. But where was the turning point? If you're doing something, you must come with ideas. I said, okay, we need to do something big. And we said, okay, there's a Valentine which is coming. And the Valentine was on a weekday. And we said, okay, the Saturday before that, let's have a Valentine. And I don't know why I said, okay, we're going to walk from Sabasaba to Bonje. How many of you know Bonje? You know Bonje? Yeah. And people got interested. Where is this Bonje? I told okay, we are going to Bonje, and any lady who finishes, we're going to give her a chocolate and a red rose. We planned for 500 people. I think around 700 people turned up. Yes. And we asked the ladies, Allah, have you ever worked? No. Why are you coming to work? I mean, this is my only opportunity to get a red rose or a chocolate. And Mombasa Walk Movement was born. And what surprised me was that, and every Saturday the numbers are increasing and increasing and increasing. So one more, sometimes when we are walking around Kibarani, I used to, and then in the morning I look at people and I naangalia umati ya watu. 200, 300, 400 people. I don't know them. They don't know me. I told them we are moving from this point A to point C. They don't know where I'm taking them. But somehow they have trusted me. Somebody has left her husband, her children. Somebody has left his wife. But so normally we strictly start at 6. So by the time somebody is coming, we must start his or her again around 4 something. So what this thing that makes somebody to leave his or her house 4:30 in the morning, 5 in the morning, go to a walk called by somebody he or she doesn't know. So which means there was a gap in the society. Ama, there's something that people were lacking. And the thing is health. There's a big problem of health. It's both physical health and mental health. And after that, we came to that people now, their life changed. People have lost weight. People's mental state came back healthy. Ladies have so many issues, hormone imbalances. What do you call the other one? When you menopause. Yes. And the first week, and I want to give you an example. The first 2 seconds at walk, there were 2 ladies who decided to come and walk. They were from Jomvu, and they walked with us. But these ladies were in the previous, they used to use pills. But for some few months, they did not use their pills. But they are not getting their menstrual period because of those imbalances. So the day we walked in Kisauni for 16 kilometers, they came and walked with us. They went back to Jomvu. Both of them incidentally, coincidence. And when they went back home, after 1 hour, they were all of them. They are friends, and they got into pain. After 1 hour, both of them, blood came out of the system complete, which means all the dirt came out. And from that day up to today, they're leading a normal life. And we have so many success stories. There are ladies. There's this lady, who from Twapa. She had a daughter who turned 15. That's on 204. 204 or 203. But for 5 years before that, she was trying to get another kid. But because of her weight and hormone imbalances, she couldn't. She joined us in May, started working with us in May. And by October, she lost 25 kilos and got pregnant. And she told me if you get a baby boy, she could name him Idris. But she got a baby girl. There was this other lady I met the other day. She told me, Major, I told her, ulipotea wapi? Akaambia, by the way, bwana, you umenisaidia, nimekusaidiaje? Nilipata mtoto. How? Because of the work. Ulizaa lini? Akaambia, by the way, incidentally, you share birthday with my daughter.
Fool's Day.
Yes. The other day I met the team leader for Vita. He was telling me there's another 2 other mamas who became pregnant the other day because of the work. And we have so many success stories. People who have, their life has totally changed completely. And at Mombasa Work Movement, actually, we have involved ourselves in so many programs. The issue of mental health, the issue of breast cancer, the issue of CSRs, and everything. But at the end of the day, we feel that when you see people take success stories, and the good thing is you don't pay anything. You don't want anything from you. Come just and walk. There's no membership. Just invest in a nice shoe. And once in a while, when we get sponsors, we'll give you a T-shirt. But every Saturday, if you work with us, at the end of the work, we'll give you a bottle of water and a banana. Cut us your friends. So far. Unless now we will have to go to the next stage.
Wow. Yes. You have addressed my 15 questions. I just have the quick fire remaining. Wasn't that amazing? Now I understand why you were asking me, give me the order of the story.
Yes.
Now the order has been delivered. Is there a question from the audience? Yes, I knew the one who makes mafuta and does not use. So, who raised the hand here? Okay, I think we'll hear those questions and then maybe we can begin from you.
Okay, I'll answer you that question. What happens is that women talk. They talk. Men, we hardly talk. We hardly talk. Actually, one of the few occasions to we lose weight, mambo iko sawa tu atakwambia. But women talk. Women talk. And that's why 60% of our workers are women. Yeah. And we met 2 ladies. They met right in our work at that moment. 10 minutes later, they are talking like people who have known each other for the last. But there's so many men lost weight there completely. But the men, of course, of the issue of losing weight, the pressure, blood pressure, everything. But now the extra things for the ladies. Yeah. But there's so many men that we have really transformed their life. And actually, if there was a video here, we can show you the pictures. Yeah, with the video, we can show you pictures of how we have really transformed people's life. But interestingly, we have done, on 2 occasions, we did online registration. 60% are most of the time ladies, 40% are men. Then when it comes to the age group, the millennials are majority, 51% of our workers are millennials. The Gen Zs are 26%. Then the Gen X were around 25%. Then 2% are the baby boomers. So when you combine the Gen Zs and millennials, that's 77% of our workers. So you can imagine where the government needs to invest the health of those people. Yes. Yeah. So that's where the future is. And we have taken petitions to the government, the county government of Mombasa. And the other day I met even the chairman of the Council of Governors. And we are petitioning on 4 things. We are preparing a petition to take to the Council of Governors so that the Council of Governors can adopt on 4 things basically. One is for the county government to invest more on preventive health than curative health. Because right now you see most county governments are buying big equipment, very expensive equipment, and they're highly used. And most of the time there's no manpower, there's no know-how. Equipment costing 50 million, 100 million, 200 million, 3 months, 6 months down the line they are disused. Nobody's used. But can the county government invest in awareness? And you maybe need 50 million shillings in a year. And you transform lives of so many people. I've never partnered with the county government. But there were 2 occasions we partnered. It was so disappointing. The way she told us about how to get the money. Because once in a while I've talked to the government at a personal level, but not as a county government. The second thing is the working infrastructure. We're saying that every road which is constructed, there must be a walking path. Not only having a walking path, we must plant trees. See in Mombasa now, all watu wanatembea kutoka Mshomoroni hiyo jua kali wana. Suppose we had trees planted along the roads. And we have done it. We have done tree planting. We started bank with mangrove and everything, and we are ready to partner with them. Yeah. The third thing is to tell the county government and council government that we shall have this work movement adopted in all the county officially in all the 47 counties. But more importantly, and the 4th one, is to have every 3rd Saturday of the month a car-free day. Yes. Car-free day.
Car-free day.
3rd Saturday of the month. 3rd Saturday, yeah. And there's a reason why the 3rd Saturday of the month. Was the 1st Saturday of the month or the last Saturday of the month? Kama mtu ako na pesa hapo. You want to drive your car. And we did a research. We did actually a research on that. And we asked the people whether you support the car-free day. 98% of Mombasa residents said we support the car-free day thing. And we asked, which day do you prefer? And they said Saturday, number 1. So I think Friday, number 2. And Sunday was number 3. So majority of people went for Saturday. Yeah. So it's based on a data. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Wow. Thank you. We'll get a question from here. We go to Rev, then we finalize with you. I hope they don't ask your question. If they ask, tweak it.
I don't think.
Okay, good.
Major at 60. I think what we have, we have what is called walk your age. And it was started by a lady who last year, part 1, she turned 45. And decided to walk with her friend 45 kilometers. The next one, she turned 49. They walked 49. So something that Ilengine. The last one we had was in Easter holiday. A lady turned 50. And they walked 50 kilometers. After that, that's the group that we walk at the beach in the morning. This lady, her friends at the beach walk together. These are people that were Mejuanda took a walk and organized a birthday party for her, a cake. And after we cut the cake, she cried. And we asked her, why are you crying? I remember the last time I did a birthday cake or people eat birthday cake was when I was 19 years old. And she became very emotional. And before I asked her that, but this Mombasa Walk movement now brings people together. People from different cultures. Actually, people either belong to a church or they belong to something. But as we cut across, we bring people from every class and everywhere. And what are people who have just met and become friends and become like family members. So coming to your question is that, so basically that's what I'm saying. But what I want to do is that we want to create a theme. Because at the age of 60, the government of, this is the narrative I want to run. At the age of 60 is when people retire. That's true. What happens when you retire? In the olden days, you go to lead a life of hopelessness. Just go to, just stay at home, maybe if you have some income. But I want to tell you that you can lead a healthy life beyond the age of 60. You can start a new life at the age of 60. And 60 is the new 40. Now I'm putting a team actually to work on this thing, but we are hoping to walk 60 kilometers, but we'll look into it how other people who cannot 60 can be part of it. And there was suggestion that maybe some people escort us the first 20 kilometers, they break off, then others, the veterans continue, other group come and walk with us the last 20 kilometers, and maybe a bigger group come and walk with us with the last 10 kilometers. We'll come with a plan. But at the end of the day, please, what I'm advising you guys, don't wait to be at the age of 40. When you become sick, or start working on your health right now. The earlier you start, the better. Don't wait. Don't go our route. We started exercising when after we develop complications. But you can start easily. And why I recommend walking is because not everybody can pay for a gym. How many people can pay for a gym? How many people can run? Or how many people have access to a swimming pool or to the beach? But walking, you can just wake up and walk, as long as you have nice shoes. Yeah, just walk. Maybe if I'm in town 4 o'clock afternoon, I don't go into a car. I just walk back to Nyali. Sometimes if I'm not in a hurry, from Nyali to town, I just walk.
All right.
Yeah. Answered you. Yeah.
Reverend Mnene, as you wait to walk your age, ask the question.
I totally agree with you. I've considered that. But I thought maybe I can run a parallel one. I've not really sat down and concentrated on how I'm going to run that campaign. But it's something that I've considered. At the same time, I thought maybe let's do it legally. But that does not stop me from running a parallel campaign. But something that I've considered. I don't think that the only thing I've not done is to sit down and see how I can run that campaign. But it's possible. Totally it's possible, yeah. Absolutely it's possible, yeah.
All right. Yes, Mohammed Garib.
Actually, I said that what happened was that when the peak of my career was being a military assistant commander. And from there, you're supposed to now go to the next stage, either a lieutenant colonel or you go become a defense assistant. Actually, you're sure of a lot of people have went to the next stage. Unfortunately, I did not go to the next stage. I tell you, maybe I stepped on the wrong toes. So instead of taking that up, then I was pushed sideways, and that, I think, affected me. Yeah, psychology. That's what I'm telling you now. Reflecting back, those days we didn't know. Maybe I was depressed. Mental, yes. Yes. I don't believe in my genie. But now going back, is that I think I want to kind of say, no, this is enough. I'm going to say, okay, if I've worked so hard like this and this can happen to me, what's the need of working? Yeah? Yes. Because for me, I'm a natural hard worker. I work. I'm a worker. If you tell me 4 o'clock in the morning to Kutana, I'll be there at 4. It doesn't matter whether I've slept or not. Yeah. And so Judy will tell you. Yeah. If you tell me 6. And actually, all my life, I used to be the first person to be in the office. And maybe the last person to leave office. Yeah. But suddenly I was a very young, ambitious man. And suddenly I see, maybe I could get somebody who could advise me at that time. Maybe, okay, we'll slow down and things may work for you. But I think without consulting everything, I was at low moments, I made that decision. But it's a decision I don't regret. I think I enjoyed life outside.
All right. So thank you. We can give a round of applause to that. Especially Mohammed Garib. He's very humorous. We need to retell his story again. So Major, from the statistics that you have at Mombasa Walk Movement, the statistics in this room, the statistics of the country from even the political angle, what is your advice to the young professionals who you have had, they have dropped in a job even before the second day of work? You know, I see some of them even are here at the workplace. Luckily, in our office, we haven't had one drop us. We have Marion doing a great job. That is Marion, their youngest personnel at the office. But what is your advice to the young professionals? Probably not born to struggle the way you struggle to go to school, probably have had everything they want in life. They can access their parents at a click of a button. What is your advice to them?
My first advice is, I think you must have a purpose in life. You can't just say that I just want to be like. There must be something that defines you. You need to find out what defines who are you. And more importantly is that once you set that goal, you have to be patient about it. I'm having the same problem with my children too. Yeah. But I think one thing is that you need to define what you want to do and go for it. Because a lot of people say that we cannot do this thing because we don't have somebody to take us there. You have to find out how to take yourself to that table. Yeah, you have to go to that table. It doesn't matter how. And you don't need any assistance to go to that table. You must sit at that table. And you must deal with the center. So wherever you're going, or wherever you're going to work, or whatever you're going to say, you must find out where is the center. And once you find the center, you must be loyal to that work. And loyalty pays. Yes.
Wow, powerful. And by the way, as we were planning for this story, I saw Major even share some pictures in the group. And I'm actually encouraging all the speakers, if there is a picture or something that we can add to the story once it is published, you can share with us. I believe those are things we can add to make the story very powerful, because this is also an opportunity for you guys to leave a mark in the sands of time. So Major, here comes my last question before the quick fire. It should be my second last question. So the second last question should be, what is, at the end of it all, what is your message to us as the people in this room and as the people who are going to watch the story, including your own children? What is your message to us? And this one you can either speak while looking at that camera, because that is yours. Tell us your message from your heart to our heart space. I want to use the very message that Linda said, our heart space. What is your message to this generation, the generations to come, 30 years down the line when people interact with your video? What is your message to them?
My message to people is that you must believe in yourself. Once you believe in yourself, you have the confidence in yourself, you'll be able to do anything. And at the end of the day, you must have a purpose for life. I say, what do I want to achieve? If you don't have that, unfortunately, I think most of us didn't have it, then I don't think you have it. But at the end of the day, what I say is that the time is on your side. Go back and reflect and understand yourself. Who are you and what do you stand for and what do you want to be? Once you define that, I think life becomes easy. You don't have to go and follow anybody else's path. Follow your own path.
Thank you. I teach public speaking in one of our leadership programs, and I have interacted with quite a number of speeches. And there is one of the former president of the US who used to do, I think, some of the work that you've done. The man behind the mission, not at the front of the mission. And what got him elected the day he wanted to become a president is, actually the word they use is an underdog. He was an underdog. Yeah. And it was very stunned. When I was listening to his speech, I think one of the lines is used to move the Americans to vote for him, he said, read my lips, no new taxes. That is what made him from being an underdog to becoming the president of the United States of America. So based on that, you as Major Idris, what legacy do you want to leave? Not just as a major, nor a strategist behind leaders, but just as Idris, the man behind his own mission.
My legacy I want to leave in the next few years is to see a healthy country, healthy people leading a healthy lifestyle. I think I told you in my younger days how the country's system used to work. You could go to school, you don't pay anything. The education system worked, the health system worked. I remember when in the 70s, when at home, the water system didn't work. We used to have showers in our home in the 70s. If you go to Garissa today, there's no water. So what went wrong? So currently, if you look the kind of leadership we have, or let's say I'm a member of parliament. What's the role of member of parliament? It's to legislate, to oversight, and to represent. They do it, they don't do it. What do they do? Everybody talks about CDF, and they basically forgot their role. But what's CDF? CDF is about bursary. How many people do you give bursary? And somebody tells you, mefanya kazi, mefanya kazi. Nimepatiana bursary bana, watoto 10,000, ngapi 5,000 shillings. That is not his money. Mejenga kabro, so what? So why do we have the bursary system? It's because the system is not functioning, it's not system. Having this experience now, and I think I would like to be a certain leadership that can see whether we can go back to where this country was. Yes. I don't see why a parent has to be running after an MP or a governor looking for a bursary when the government should be doing that. Yeah. If you combine all the bursaries that all these people give, is over 100 billion shillings. But why can't this government put that 100 billion directly to the schools and have the parent just to look for the daily income? So, I've taken this decision that I think, unlike the current members of parliament we have, I would like to be a member of parliament and see whether I can change the narrative. A narrative where I'm there to represent, to legislate, and supervise the government to do the right things. Not talking about giving out bursary and building cabros. No. Unfortunately, that's what's happened now, but it may take time. But I think we need to go back to the basic and make sure that the government does the right thing. And that means we must get the leaders who can put the government on its toes. And it has to be among ourselves. And I want to be part of that journey. Yeah. I want to enjoy my grandchildren to enjoy school the way I did. I don't want my children or grandchildren to still be looking for, to go and buy textbooks and not. No, that's the role of the government. That's why we are paying taxes. Yeah. So, I want to be that part of that leadership and see whether we can get a group of like-minded and see. It may take us time, but we have to start from somewhere. And somebody has to start. And I want to be maybe that person to start that story.
Fantastic. Yes, Mohammed.
I think I'll answer you differently. I think we need to own up that we made our mistakes, including all of us, including yourself, because they're the ones who elected leaders. I'm sure you must have voted. So I think it's the high time that we change our mindset. Until all of us change our mindset, then we'll continue electing the same people, including that maybe we elect you will be the same. But I think it's the time I think that the country needs a turning point. If we are going north, we need a certain leadership that can turn the country 180 degrees. It's not easy. It's a painful process. But I think it's something that all of us need to do together, without putting blame on anybody. But without all of us taking a role, it's maybe difficult. I think what I told you is that a journey has to start. And somebody has to start, and whoever starts may not be finished. But somebody somewhere must start, or a team of people must start. Okay? And I don't want to go the defeatist way. I think it's possible for this journey to be started. And you can hear the conversation in the country. But I think it just lacks a rallying point. Can we be part of that rallying point? It may take us time, but I don't think it's fair for us just to say that we cannot do it and we just live this hopeless life here. But somebody has to start from somewhere. Or a group of people have to start. I would like to be part of that group. Yeah.
Okay. So, Job, if you need a PA position, have lunch with him. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think it has been an amazing conversation. Is there something you want to add?
How many of us are joining the work for this?
Yes.
But if you cannot do, please.
Linda, you walk to Nyali.
If you cannot do this, just join the cluster groups. Just the cluster groups. We are very active with all social media platforms. If you want your number to be added to WhatsApp group, by the way, I've come with my team here. We have Uba there behind. She's the chief administrator of Mombasa Work Movement. We started with her. We have the lady in charge of communications who tells the world whatever we do, doing a wonderful job, Diana, there. Yes. So the team is here, but our number is on the Facebook page. Just inbox your number, tell us which cluster you are. We'll add you to a group so that you get updates. But please, start the journey now. Don't wait for tomorrow.
And every step?
Every step matters.
Perfect. Wonderful.
Nothing more.
One word that defines your leadership style.
Discipline.
A leader you have admired deeply and why?
The president used to be called Anwar Sadat of Egypt. I don't know what you heard about him. He was the president of Egypt from 1970 to 1981. He led the Yom Kippur War of 1973 October, who destroyed Israel in 6 hours. He's one man that I really admired from his days when he was young, because of his clear thinking, his mission. And after the Golan Heights War, 1967, Israel took over the Sinai, the Golan Heights. He tried to negotiate with them for a peaceful settlement. When he couldn't get, and said, okay, Mekata, then I'll show you. And in 1973, 6 October, Ramadan, he went into Israel and destroyed the Israel Air Force within 6 hours.
All right.
Until America had to come in. And when things became bad, I said, okay, I can't fight America. He pulled back and made peace. Later, the Camp David Peace Treaty in 1978. Yeah. So there's every time for everything. A leader is when he knows when to fight, when to do things, and when to pull back. Yes.
Wow.
And there's a book written by him called In Search of Identity. You need to read.
In Search of Identity. Early mornings or late nights?
I'm a morning guy. Anytime from 3 o'clock, 3:30, you'll get me online.
Okay. What is one habit or discipline from your military days you still carry into civilian life?
Respect.
A quote or life mantra that anchors you.
Every step matters.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the story of none other than Major Idris Abdirahman Mohammed. We can give him a round of applause. His story reminds me of an Igbo Nigerian proverb that says, "A man who does not know where the rain began to beat him cannot say where he dried his body." That was another powerful story of significance. I hope you are living challenged, inspired, and reminded that your story too holds the ground to inspire and transform others. Do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, leave us a review if this story moved you, and most importantly, share this episode with your network. Until next time, lead with vision, move with purpose, and inspire with impact. See you next episode. Your story matters too.